Welcome to the Sports Synagogue podcast. This is our first episode.
And we're going to be going through each division, winners and losers, overs and unders.
Be ready.
Sports Synagogue featuring Sam and Neel. Episode 1.
All right. First on the agenda, we're going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. And, man.
Are the 76ers really our first topic?
I mean, I feel like we should just get it out of the way just because of how much of a crapshoot it's been this offseason.
Okay, so we're starting with the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, Atlantic Division, that's the first thing that we're going for. And just so we have a point of reference, their Vegas over-under, 47.5 wins.
47.5 wins. I think without James Harden being there, Tyrese Maxey can fill a lot of the gap for the 76ers. And I think chemistry-wise, it could be a better fit. It's hard to say because James Harden, when he's motivated, it could be a great chemistry fit with damn near any team.
Okay, here is the major problem, you know? Do you know who the most winningest player is of the 2020s? Which player has the most regular season wins?
Tell me.
Georges Niang. Not on the team anymore. What are they going to do?
You saw the picture of him from the Cavs media day?
Oh, yeah, Matt, dude, he looks out of shape.
You know, people try to give Jokic shit for his shape and what he does. Hey, man, he backs it up. Georges Niang does, too. I'm all for guys, okay? I'm all for guys that look like they should be grilling at the cookout.
Yeah, but if we're talking about who's grilling at the cookout, let's not underestimate what I think is relatively high percentage chance James Harden does end up playing for this team. While James Harden, second half of last season, so you go, let's do after the Christmas break or maybe mid-November, they were essentially the best team in the league. Number one record for like 7 months. Joel Embiid, he put up his stats in the regular season. I think Joel Embiid is awful. I do not think he can be a number one on a championship winning team. But purely for the regular season, they were incredible. James Harden, when the ball was in his hands and you gave him that Steve Nash, I am going to just manage the offense role, he was averaging, 20 and 11, 20 and 12?
It was easy for him. It didn't seem like a lot of effort from James Harden when he's like, I want to lock into this point guard role. And he was wishy-washy sometimes. We saw that in the playoffs. But when he really locked into his role, another interesting thing is when he locked into his role as a scorer, they also won in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the only way they could win in the playoffs. Here's the problem with the 76ers. Is Joel Embiid is incredibly talented, but he's just not consistent enough. He does not perform well enough in big moments to the point where we can say, okay, yeah, a Joel Embiid team can lead to victory, which is why I think that the way that they handled this James Harden debacle is awful. Because I agree, when he was a scorer, they were winning playoff games. I think the Celtics last year were a really good team. I know, they lost to the Heat, whatever, it is what it is. But that Sixers team was able to take that Celtics team to a Game 7. Now, let's try and think what led to two of the wins that the Sixers had. One of them was without Embiid. James Harden scored 45 points?
Yeah.
Another one at home, James Harden, he dropped 42, 9, and 8.
Oh yeah.
Embiid, in that game when James Harden got 42, 9, and 8, scored like 34, 35 points. When Embiid can dial in as that role guy, that secondary scorer, and let a just incredibly well experienced point guard. That's what James Harden is for that team. He's a point guard. Control the offense. I think the Sixers can do things. And I think we also saw that in 2019 when they lost to the Kawhi, bangarang bounce it in shot.
Oh yeah.
That Game 7, they had Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. They had Ben Simmons. This is like all NBA level Ben Simmons when he's still one of the best defenders that I've ever seen in my life.
Was.
Not anymore. Maybe we'll see this season. Who knows? Stay tuned for the Nets part.
I drafted him, by the way. We'll get to that soon.
But that series, Embiid was all right. His numbers weren't, bonkers, but he was still relatively good. And the reason why the team performed so well in that series against the Raptors is because Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler took on that primary creator role. And they were able to be like, maestros with the offense. I don't think Tyrese Maxey can do that. I view Tyrese Maxey as more of a, just kind of like a gunslinger. All that to say, though, do I think they're going to make it out of the second round this year? No. If James Harden does play, do I think they get over 47.5 wins? Absolutely. If he's not going to play and it's just Embiid and Maxey, I think this is like a, 6-7 seed. This is like a 500 team.
I do think James Harden is going to force his way out of this team. Even if he plays, we've seen how he plays when he's not motivated.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be winning basketball. Yeah. No one's going to be happy. And then you have a young guy like Tyrese who's on the come up, and he's playing on a team with disenfranchised superstars or superstars that think that they deserve more than a great opportunity ahead of them. And I know it's tough for James Harden because he has issues with management, but in terms of just basketball personnel, the Sixers don't have a bad line for James Harden. I mean, he can create with all of those guys. He can use those weapons, not just because those guys are really good in their role, because James Harden is phenomenal when he locks in. Yeah. It's tough with him and Embiid, though. They don't seem like both of them can lock in for a 7-game series.
Yeah. Well, now they also added Kelly Oubre to the team.
I like that addition.
You like it. You don't think Kelly Oubre is just going to try and be a little selfish?
A tiny bit selfish, but I think he can help fill a role. I think Tobias Harris might be finishing up his time in Philadelphia.
He's on an expiring contract, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that he... Wait, Tommy, can you pull that up? Tommy is looking that up. I feel like Tobias Harris is on his way out, and as like an established veteran in the NBA, he's going to see all this, fuck shit, really, that's happening with Embiid being a troll, James Harden feeling like he shouldn't be treated this way or on the Sixers at all. And Tobias Harris is going to check out, I think. And I think Kelly Oubre is just a high-energy guy, wants to be involved, excited to play ball, especially with good players. He looked like he had fun on that Charlotte Hornets team. Young, fun team, to be fair. But playing with Joel and James Harden, that's a whole new ballpark. Not that Kelly has played with the Warriors, but this is more his base.
But that Warriors team that he was on was just, so incredibly injured. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I think that the odds that both Harden and Joel Embiid are off this team by next season are pretty high. I think that the odds that, let's say James Harden gets traded to the Sixers, right? Not the Sixers, sorry. He gets traded to the Clippers. Clippers are like, fine, we'll throw in Norman Powell and Terrence Mann to make it work. Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris. It just seems like a lot of people that Embiid is going to need to hold their hand, and I do not know how that's going to work out. And then it's going to be no star power on the team. Next summer, Embiid gets traded. You know what happens next summer? The Knicks obviously are going to try and do whatever they can for him. But Klay Thompson's contract is up. I could see a sign-in trade, Warriors, couple picks, Klay, Kuminga, Joel Embiid.
Steph's going to be fine. Steph has years left to play.
Oh, my God. Did you see the preseason game against the Kings?
Phenomenal. It was a playoff game. We got a playoff game in the preseason.
I know. It was such a pinnacle of I'm just going to beat you down in the playoffs. Preseason rolls around. All these young guys on the Kings are like, oh, let's get our get back. Steph's like, nah, it was a little bro move. It was like, sit down. It's not your league yet. I'm still Wardell, Stephen Curry. And I think Embiid, when he goes to the Warriors, when he has someone that he can respect, because with Harden, we saw Embiid be a little bit deferential to him in the playoffs. Harden's kind of built up at least a little bit of that respect.
Joel thinks that Harden is like an all-time player, right? He played in the league at the same time when Harden was putting up 36 points per game. But I think after seeing Harden be wishy-washy, it might have shaken Joel to the core in what his faith in other players. Yeah, but that's why I'm saying he goes to the Warriors. He sees Steph. He sees Draymond. He sees these people that have won 4 championship rings. That is going, if that were to happen, it would be transformative for Embiid. And I kind of see it in the same light of how I saw Chris Bosh going to the Heat to play with Braun and Wade. Took a little bit of a step back,
defense skyrocketed, became one of the best defenders of that era of basketball. I see it similarly to how when Pau Gasol was just, he was an almost, maybe a third-team All-NBA guy, kind of straddling that elite level when he joined Kobe on the Lakers, immediately bought in. Immediately was like, oh, I can be like the championship guy. And he almost won a finals MVP over Kobe. And I really do think that Joel Embiid can be that guy. I think he can be a finals MVP, but I don't think he can be like an MVP. I think he's the worst MVP that has ever won the award.
And we're on the same page about that.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid might statistically be the worst player to win an MVP.
I mean, the only one to never make a conference final and win an MVP.
And I'm sure everyone's seen the statistics of MVPs' regular season performance versus their playoff performances. Tommy, can you bring that up real quick? Joel Embiid in the regular season 2022-2023 versus playoffs.
Yeah. But we don't really need to, we can just tell you while he looks that up, is they go down. His points go down, his rebounds go down, his defensive efficiency goes down.
Look at that. Just his points.
Yeah.
33.1 in the regular season, down to 23.7 in the playoffs. And I know there's so much more to basketball than just scoring.
Wow.
You can say the playoffs, it slows down.
Yeah.
But
biggest drop off in the league's history.
It's crazy.
So honestly, I think that we can wrap this up. They struck out on Dame. They didn't want to include Tyrese Maxey. I think that's dumb. I think Embiid is not on the team come next season. I don't even know what's really going to happen with Harden. I'm going to say that they're probably around 47.5, and it's just not looking good. Do not look at them like they're going to be a, finals contender. That is not how I think about the Sixers. But a team that I do think is a finals contender and one that I think is potentially the best team in the league, right there with the Nuggets. They're making my finals prediction, Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics is the team the Sixers have never been able to get over, and
Absolutely
I don't think
not.
they ever will. I think the Sixers and Celtics have some similar issues where I don't know if everyone knows their exact role, who's the number one, who is going to lead the team, who at certain points in the game can be like, this is me, I'm taking it upon myself, and own those moments. But the Celtics figure it out much more often than the Sixers do.
I think the one, just so you guys know, the over-under for the Celtics, it went up in the past couple days. Right now it's at 54.5. I think they're going to absolutely demolish that. I think they're going to win like 65, 66 games. I think we have to also take this into context. Jason Tatum scored 50 points in the Game 7 versus the Sixers last year. He's about to be 26, probably going to go on to 27 soon.
I think he's 27 this year.
You think he's 27 this year?
I think he's turning 27 this year.
While we check that, regardless if it's 26, 27, that is the age that these NBA superstars become, the guy. Become the guy that can lead a team. I think Jason Tatum has all of the tools, both defensively, offensively, to maybe not be the MVP just because of all the other players on his team, taking shots and whatnot. But I think I could easily see him leading a team into the finals like he already has. And this time.
Just one quick correction. Jason Tatum is actually 19.
Oh, my bad. Jason Tatum
but
is 19.
Jason Tatum is 25 years old, so he'll be turning 26 this season.
Okay, so he's going to be 26.
And he has plenty of time. And I agree with what you're saying about Tatum in terms of where he's coming to in his age. I think a lot of people wanted to rush this Boston team because it seems like
he's made the conference final like what, 6 times?
And it seems like Brown and Tatum, because of not only how long they played together, but how frequently they've gone deep into the playoffs, and we've gotten to watch them play deep into playoffs. Just the sheer amount of games as fans we've watched them play, meaningful playoff games, makes people think that these guys are running out of time, that they've been together too long, it's time to break it up. When do all these all-time players start winning their rings? They don't win till their late 20s.
Yeah. I mean, Jokic is 28. Giannis, won not that long ago. There's a couple players that are exceptions, right? There's like the Tim Duncan who won his second year in the league, but he did all 4 years in college. So a lot of very few players win until their late 20s. LeBron's first was what, 28?
28.
Yeah, there you go.
And then what was Michael, like 29?
I think it was also 28.
Yeah, Michael was either 28 or 29.
Yeah.
And I want to make the point that a lot of guys that do win super early in their career usually see a huge drought before they win again.
Yeah.
A la Kobe Bryant, he got the first 3 with Shaq, and then there was a large drought. You don't just keep winning championships, especially as a young player. You need to figure out your own identity. And I think that the way that Boston is doing it is the right way to do it. They gave these guys time to develop, and now they're developed. To give up on them right now in this moment, I think is a waste of all that time.
Yeah, and then also think about the Eastern Conference is how many great defensive wings are there still that can guard not just Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Derek White honestly looked like one of, he just looked incredible last
Spurs
playoff.
Basketball right there.
Yeah, I mean, Popovich kind of, built him up kind of like he did Kawhi, but that's another story.
I told all my Celtics friends that Derek White was going to be huge for their team.
Yeah, and they just didn't buy it.
Nobody watches the Spurs. I don't blame them, though.
Yeah, I'm a Spurs fan if you didn't know. You can tell by the Tim jersey here, but I just think Derek White's huge for him. I think that the Drew Holiday trade, they're replacing Marcus Smart, who last year looked completely washed. The only reason he has a depoy is because Doris Burke is just obsessed with Marcus Smart for some reason.
Doris Burke pushed that narrative so hard from the beginning of the season. Marcus Smart doesn't get enough credit as a defensive player, and then she pushed it on every national televised
and then
ESPN
Steph just
game.
sunned him for every single game in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
And then last year, he just looked awful. And the worst possible thing that could happen to a Celtics team when you have Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, you have a knockdown three-point shooter in Kristaps, and you have Derek White, who has been playing very well, is for the last possession of a game to come down to Marcus Smart just wanting to be a hero, which is how it just feels like that's how 80% of Marcus Smart games go. Like, if Marcus Smart gets the ball in the last 10 seconds, he's shooting it, and it's very rarely going in. And now that they don't have that, they're replacing him with Drew, who, in my opinion, is the best defensive guard, like best perimeter.
Go Bruins, baby!
Yeah, go Bruins. Fours up. Bruins. But just the best defensive guard in the league, and from every single part of their team, I just see improvement. And I don't want to overstate Kristaps Porzingis. One, he's looked incredible in preseason. Two, he looked absolutely incredible with the Wizards last year. I remember he was on my fantasy basketball team. This guy was dropping 29 and 14 on the regular with four made threes. It was electric. And people are going to hate on it for the injury concerns, but it's not like they gave up a lot. They're replacing Robert Williams, Time Lord's minutes with Kristaps. Time Lord also gets hurt every 4 games.
Yeah.
So do you want the benefit of having Kristaps, who can just go in there and get 30 and 10 on any given night? Or do you want Robert Williams for the times he's healthy? Give me Kristaps.
I say give me Kristaps as well. I feel bad saying this because I love the way Robert Williams plays.
Yeah.
But that finals run, when he forced himself to play through that knee injury, it's a permanent thing that he's going to deal with for the rest
it's like
of his
the Kawhi
career.
quad. It's just never going to get better.
Kawhi quad, Giannis's knee as well, which still gives him but Giannis won a championship, right? So in his mind, he's not worried about it.
Yeah.
So, and Kristaps was a phenomenal player last year, both with the ball and attacking after immediately getting the ball.
Yeah.
Of players being closed out on, I believe Kristaps created the most points per possession of a player that was being closed out on the three-point line.
Interesting.
Shows that he's not just comfortable scoring in the post, rebounding, and facilitating for his teammates, but that he can drive, he can slash, and not just spot up, which is how they were using him in the Mavericks, and no one really agrees that that's how he should have been used on that team necessarily.
And you have to think about the bench, too. Peyton Pritchard is just one of those, I just feel like Peyton Pritchard just gives me good old boy. I want to get into the game, be sparky, and when I have the ball, I think I can be, a god. And I think he's just going to relish having a go at being a 6th man of the year candidate. I love everything about this team. I think if Kristaps misses time, that's fine. Put in Al Horford, put Jason Tatum at the 4. You can run small ball, you can run big ball, you can play Horford and Porzingis if you want. Jason Tatum himself just never misses games. Watch me jinx him by accident. Sorry, Jace. But Jaylen Brown, maybe he'll miss a couple weeks here and there. But this team, to me, is just built to go 67 games.
I think this team, without a doubt, this team should win 60 games. 67 games, that's tough territory, and we haven't been seeing, I don't think a lot of teams doing that in recent NBA history.
No.
That
just Rockets, Warriors, the last kind of group that really gunned for that.
Yeah,
but we did see the Bucks I'm pretty sure we saw the Bucks get to 60 a couple years back.
Maybe 64, 65. I feel like the Bucks might have got to. And one more thing on Kristaps. While we do love the Drew Holiday addition to the Celtics, I think Kristaps is definitely the biggest steal here.
Yeah.
Kristaps in the preseason looked comfortable getting the ball to Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, playing off them, and when they had the ball, getting himself to his positions to attack, and he was able to attack out of the post, shoot. Yeah. He looked fine playing with those guys. Is it true in the reverse? Do those guys feel comfortable getting the ball to Kristaps? I think Tatum does. I think Tatum is great. You can put him on the court with anyone.
But Jaylen
is the biggest question for that. And I
got a big contract.
I love Jaylen Brown. Hear me out. I know you went to Berkeley, bro. I love your game. No. Don't do all that.
Jaylen Brown
don't do all that.
Dribbles with his left hand like I do. Uncoordinated.
So I think the most important thing for the Celtics to develop here is a Jaylen Brown, Porzingis two-man game. If those guys can comfortably play off of each other.
You want Jaylen Brown to manage a pick and roll? He can only drive to one side.
I think if those two can play off of each other well, using Porzingis' length as well, because then Jaylen can escape out of his bad offensive moves, where he's about to lose the ball. You can throw it up to 7'3" guy. It's easy.
7'3", 7'4", yeah.
It's easy for him to get. If Jaylen can get comfortable running a two-man game with Kristaps, the dynamic of that team is different. It's going to be hard to guard.
No, you're right. But I just feel like there's so many ways that you can run the offense. Anyway, I have them as a lock for 60 wins. All right, and so next up we have the Nets.
The team that was swept by the Celtics after giving the Celtics a gentleman's sweep. Very different team now.
I mean, the team that got swept had Kevin Durant on it, and now they basically replaced Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving with Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons, and Spencer Dinwiddie. Last year, they got swept by the Sixers.
I'm going to start this off just by saying I drafted Ben Simmons in my fantasy league. 10-man fantasy points, 8th round. Ben Simmons.
So, I am a notorious fan of Ben Simmons in the past. I, to this day, believe that Ben Simmons is one of the best defensive players I've ever seen in my life.
Ever.
On ball, roaming, perimeter, post, doesn't matter. I think he should have 2 or 3 defensive player of the years. I think he's absolutely incredible. And he hasn't played in 3 years.
Oh yeah.
So what do I think of Ben Simmons? I think that he loves that Kevin Durant and Kyrie are not on the team anymore. I think when he first got there was so much pressure on him to play because, he was part of the James Harden trade. And
he thought he was James Harden? He thought he had to fill James Harden's shoes.
He thought he had to fill James Harden's shoes. I don't even know if he loves basketball. He asks to be recorded every time he dunks in warm-ups when he's wearing his Louis Vuitton. And I'm just why? The only information we have is he says that he feels like he's back to his old self,
That's not the only information. We watched him in the preseason, and in the preseason, he looked willing. I saw him diving for balls in the preseason. And whatever people want to say about Ben Simmons, they think he's soft. I think guys that do the dirty work like that and are willing to dive on the court, go after balls, especially in the preseason.
What about his mentality do we think is different now?
I really think it was just a lot of mental struggle of dealing with the constant criticism. And think about him. He was probably exalted his whole life. Everyone was like, wow, this guy is an amazing basketball mind. Not just player, mind.
Yeah.
And that's a much higher level of compliment that a lot of guys, a lot of NBA players, they just can't reach that. Yeah. And it's just, and not everyone can be an amazing chess player, right? You just don't always be blessed with that mind and that decision making. And I think Ben Simmons was rattled. For the first time, he had overwhelmingly negative sentiment about his basketball skill.
So do you think that Ben Simmons is going to be 70% as good as he was last full regular season with the Sixers.
From what I saw in the preseason?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think more than 70%.
Okay, well, if I love Ben Simmons' potential, if you're telling me that you think he's going to be 70%, then this is the easiest over of my life. It's 37.5.
Over.
Mikal Bridges, going to average like 26 points this year. Cam Thomas, still on the team. They got Cam Johnson, who I love as a wing. Spencer Dinwiddie, I mean, he came up huge for the Mavericks 2 years ago in the playoffs when it was him, Brunson, and Luka.
He was just as good as like a Kyrie.
He was just as good as Kyrie, and now, yeah, we'll get to the Mavs in the Western Conference.
One thing that we both talked about before, we had these ideas separately, but you had this a little bit more fleshed out.
Yeah.
When Ben Simmons was still in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and you had Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert over in Utah, you said Ben Simmons should go to Utah. You know, you trade out Gobert, whatever, surround Ben Simmons with just shooters and let him be a mini Giannis. Do you think that's come to fruition now on the Nets?
Wow, I never even thought of this. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know, when Ben Simmons was winning like Rookie of the Year, like that kind of the following 2 years, I was just like, I see what Giannis is doing. And I'm like, Ben Simmons is 6'10", has incredible vision, can run, his best role is in the fast break. And I'm like, Donovan Mitchell, who I also love, is everything the Sixers needed. My just basketball dream was straight up trade Ben Simmons for Donovan Mitchell, and then just trade away Gobert. They at the time, they had Bogdanovich still, Royce O'Neal was on that team, and I was just like, oh my god, like just watching Ben Simmons do a big man sprint down the floor and pass out to the wings, a la a Giannis, or just kind of a faster paced Braun, basically. I was like, this would be nuts. And now that you brought it up,
there was no one faster than Braun.
Yeah, but Braun does play at his own pace. Like Braun doesn't just run, catapult himself off the floor like Giannis does.
Can't anymore.
Braun at least had a bag. Like he could at least go into the post a few times. Like
We'll get to bag watch soon.
Yeah, but
back to your point.
If Ben Simmons can do that, if he can do that with the Nets, and they have the personnel, Dinwiddie, Mikal, Cam, oh my God, Claxton, sprinting down with him, catching lobs. Oh my, I'm envisioning this now, and I'm like, I could see this be like a 4 seed. I could see this as a 4 or 5 seed.
Yeah.
If Ben Simmons is back to peak, oh my God.
Yeah. Who do we got in front of them? We got the Bucks. We got the Celtics.
Celtics.
Who else are you putting in front of those Nets team? The Knicks.
I think Knicks are going to be consistent. I honestly think they're just going to be the same as they were last year. I could see the Miami Heat have like a real, all right, no one believes in us again. We just made the finals. No one's even talking about us as a contender. The Bucks stole Dame from us. I could see them putting together an insane streak in the regular season, but then Jimmy's just going to tweak his ankle and then it's over.
I'm not buying it. I'm selling that with the Heat.
Yeah. The Hawks.
We haven't got to the Heat yet. I'm going under, whatever it is. I don't know what the number is, but I'm going to go under. We're not even in the South.
I think the Hawks could put up a fight, but I think it's going to be in the Cavs maybe. But I think that the Nets are going to be in that mix, and for that like 3, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that middle.
You know what?
They're going to be in there.
To just put a button on it, I'll give the Cavs a 3rd seed. I think Battle of New York for 4-5. And
Battle of New York for 4-5.
And then we get to see the Battle of New York flesh out in the playoffs.
That would be insane.
Yeah.
Nets, Knicks, first round. Bro, what would even happen in New York? There'd be riots.
Oh, it'd be great. Can you imagine Side Talk?
Oh my God.
Can you imagine the Side Talk riots?
Dude.
Shout out Kai Cenat.
Oh my God. Oh, the Twitter is going to be absolutely insane. Oh, my bad. Should I say X? If you ever want to sponsor us, Elon. But, yeah. But yeah, no, that would be awesome. But next, who do we have? We have the Knicks. Well, what do you want to say about the Knicks? This is Neel. He's our Knicks expert analyst. New Jersey native. wasn't a Nets fan, kind of weird, but it is.
So a lot of things people don't understand about people that grow up in the Northeast and are sports fans. There's a lot of mixed allegiances. The areas are so close to each other. Listen, you got 4 teams in California.
Yeah.
How big is California? That's like me living in New Jersey and being a fan of the Wizards. If I live in Southern California, and I'm a fan of the Warriors, it's the same as me living in New Jersey and being a fan of the Wizards.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if that's not crazy, what I'm saying should not be crazy at all. But I do think everyone that lives in New Jersey that's a Celtics fan is crazy. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I mean, we have one right here. Tommy?
Tom, you got anything to say for us? A resident New Jersey Celtics fan?
New Jersey native fan of the Celtics. This guy was cheesing from ear to ear when I was talking about my Celtics predictions. It's hilarious.
Anyone can be a Celtics fan. It's easy to be a Celtics fan when they have 18 banners.
Yeah, they haven't won since 2008. This is the year.
This is the year, he says.
Not if this big Slavic guy has anything to say about it, but that is my finals. But we'll see.
So, to the Knicks.
Yeah.
I am extremely excited for another year of this team getting to be together. Okay. And I think after the previous season, it's very obvious to everyone, Knicks fans, management, should be obvious to the team, we'll see, that Jalen Brunson is the face of the New York Knicks. Okay. He will be leading us to the next stage and where we have to go as a team. Julius Randle did a great job. All props to Julius. Julius deserves no disrespect for anything he's done in his time in New York. It is very difficult as an outside player, someone that hasn't even grown up in the area, isn't familiar with New York, to come to New York and try to be the face of Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks.
He got All-NBA, got multiple All-Stars.
He's closing in on a lot of Carmelo's scoring and rebounding sort of milestones with the Knicks.
He's just not as pretty with it.
No. But let's remember, Carmelo was our Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant, and then we got a Kevin Durant and put Carmelo back into his place. So it's harder to appreciate someone like Julius Randle because we have, I don't know, he has a little bit more of an aggressive bully game.
But why is he just awful in the playoffs? Tommy, can you bring up Julius Randle playoff numbers? Because like what we were saying with Embiid, they fall off a cliff.
I think Julius's style of play is just not sustainable in the playoffs. Okay. To be completely honest, that bully ball doesn't really work in the NBA when you can have these double teams and have these multiple defenders. Yeah.
Like you can see this right now. 22-23 this past playoffs. 16.6 points per game, 8.3 rebounds on 37% from the floor.
He knows he's good.
That's like a 10-point drop.
He knows he's good, and he knows how much stronger than he is than guys. He gets baited into silly turnovers in the playoffs, and then once he gets the silly turnovers, he tries to get some shots up to try to get himself into a rhythm, and then finds out there's not that much game in the playoffs. There's less game than game you have in the regular season. And that sounds confusing, but in the playoffs, the time feels suffocated. You feel like the time goes by like this.
Yeah, but what's going to change? I think we both agree that the Knicks are a good regular season team. I think Jalen Brunson is absolutely electric. I think that the Mavericks are just so stupid for letting him leave and not just giving him a bag. Like, he's better than Kyrie Irving, and they spent everything they have on Kyrie Irving just to try and replace Jalen Brunson, who doesn't get hurt, who plays every game, and is just dedicated to hard work. So do I think that the Knicks regular season, obviously, Julius Randle's always incredible in the regular season. He makes game winners. He's Stefulius Randle, you know?
Stefulius Carandle.
Stefulius Carandle, you know? Like, he's great. Brunson's great. Emmanuel quickly, gonna be better. RJ Barrett, ups, downs. But Tom Thibodeau is gonna run this team to the ground. They're going to be, you know, probably a 5 or 6 seed. But in the playoffs, maybe they win, you know, they can win a first round against the Nets.
Julius has to learn how to be a decoy in the playoffs. I think we need to find Julius in his spots, and he needs to be a willing and able passer out of those spots. More so. He needs to be more unselfish. And even if that pays off and he's like, or if it doesn't pay off and he's like, I need to go back to scoring, I need to keep trying to score, we need to stick to that strategy. And I think in the long term, we'll win more games too.
Okay, yeah, but now let's just like imagine this scenario, right? Where they're the 4-5, right? They play the Nets. They beat the Nets. Second round, they play the Celtics. Drew Holiday and Derek White are in charge of passing off to one another Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Julius Randle that can be guarded by Kristaps, Horford, and Tatum. And you have Jaylen Brown just running around. I'm like, well, like how they don't win a game. It's just, this is a team that I feel like is built for a 50-50 chance at a first round series win, and then second round it's just gonna be a sweep.
I don't necessarily agree, because I think one thing about the playoffs that gives the Knicks a tremendous advantage is the amount of bully ball played by all of our stars. Jalen Brunson, RJ, Julius, it wears on people in the playoffs, especially the long regular season.
Yeah.
It gets people just worn out, and they just can't deal with the team. Jalen Brunson does not stop coming at you.
He's a pit bull.
He will keep, and he's insane in the post. He moves big men in the post and gets shots over them. And when you're dealing with that, RJ, when he's on the break, puts a little shoulder, mild-mannered RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
When he puts that shoulder down, gets into you and gets to the rim, those shoulders add up. Feeling that shoulder from Julius, from RJ.
Pull up Jalen Brunson. I wanna see, because in my head, right, just absolute pitbull. He reminds me of Russell Westbrook. Just bring up a picture of Jalen Brunson.
I think it's Will's name.
Tommy, Google Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
Because Jalen Brunson is compact. Just look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
He is stocky. Because Jalen Brunson is not afraid to just throw his body into you. I completely agree. This is not Dame.
It's such a New York team.
Not Dame.
This is such a New York team. I love these guys. This combination. 3 lefties that are just absolute bullies. Lefties doesn't work into New York, but it's a little bit different.
Yo, New York, how do you feel about the lefties?
I'm not saying anything about lefties. I'm saying the toughness and the way they just absolutely bully whoever's in front of them.
Yeah.
That is New York Knicks basketball. That's the identity that fits with our team. That fits with Madison Square Garden, and we're there.
Ice Spice gonna go to the games courtside.
Ice Spice better be at a game.
Bro, she went to playoff games, didn't she?
Yeah.
All right, put Ice Spice courtside. Jalen Brunson's going for 85. We got next Raptors. What do we have to say about the Raptors? I hate this team.
Yeah, I don't love this team. So here's my issue with the Raptors. They constantly talk about how they want to move certain players. Like, they're willing to move Pascal. They're willing to move Scotty Barnes. They're willing to move whoever at the right price. And then they're just OG Anunoby. Sorry, not Scotty Barnes. OG Anunoby or Pascal Siakam. They want to move these guys, right? And they keep waiting another year. And they think they're sitting on these amazing assets that they can move at any time. These guys are getting older every year. We've been hearing these rumors for like 3-4 years now. You know what I mean? Since they won that championship, we've been hearing these rumors. They haven't made those moves. They're going to get less return now when they do. The Raptors feel like they're going nowhere fast.
I agree with everything you just said. I mean, look, if there's one thing that you want to know about me and Toronto, one, I hate you for taking Kawhi, even though, I mean, way better than the Lakers getting him. But, your ring doesn't count. If KD, Clay, if one of them doesn't get hurt, it's a Warriors ring. Anyway, I hate OG Anunoby for no reason. I do not hate him as a player. I think he's pretty good. I hate how much he's talked about. I feel like the Raptors have tried. Their asking price for him is always like 4 first-round picks. It's like they're basically trying to do Damian Lillard deals for OG Anunoby, and I'm just like, why? This guy is just an above average wing, and people are just obsessed with above average wings that can play defense.
Well, you know what? I think everyone in terms of OG Anunoby thinks that he can fit onto any team in the NBA and help any team in the NBA, which can be true, but does not mean that his price is that high. Because you can still accomplish those things.
I think Bojan Bogdanovic can help every team in the NBA, but Bojan Bogdanovic would go for 1 first-round pick.
Not on both sides of the court.
He's a fine defender.
Not as good as OG.
Not as good as OG, but what I'm saying is like, yeah, there are a lot of players that can help any team. And OG Anunoby, I think a big part of what they view as his value is the fact that he's very young. They've been trying to get this value for him for 3-4 years. He's in his mid-20s now. This isn't like, he is not that much younger, if younger at all, than Jason Tatum. Like, what? He's older than Jason Tatum. He's 26. Like, look at this. Like, OG Anunoby, they wouldn't be down to trade him for anyone that's great. It makes no sense. Oh, and Pascal Siakam.
Pascal's almost 30.
God.
Pascal's almost 30.
Pascal Siakam is 29.
Let me tell you,
this team was supposed to be young. But people talk about this team like, oh, it's young. They just need another year. No, this team's not young. This team is as old as the Celtics. But they're just worse at every single position. Neil, I want you to guess the line. What do you think their over-under is? And you're going to say under.
For the
I know
Raptors?
you are. Yeah. Guess what their over-under is.
I would say, well, I think they'll probably land at about 48 wins.
You think they're going to be 48?
No, the over-under. The over-under.
The over-under is 36.5.
What?
It's 30. Well, they lost Fred VanVleet.
They did lose Fred VanVleet. Yeah. They lost Fred VanVleet. They didn't get anything for him.
Well, how do they win 37 games? What is the path for them to win 37 games?
Who's their starting point guard?
I don't even know.
Who's the Raptors starting point guard? You have that up, Tommy?
I mean, is Scotty Barnes just going to be a point forward? I have no idea.
Scotty Barnes cannot be their starting. Dennis Schroeder.
They did sign Dennis Schroeder. They got Dennis Schroeder.
Yeah, they're going to win over. They're going to go over. They have, first of all, non-Indian GOAT, Jacob Patel.
Okay. Jakob Poeltl I love, but.
They got Grady Dick. They still have Pascal, who is great.
They have a new coach.
They do have a new coach.
But this team is just not. This team.
I'm going to go over that.
You're going to go over 36.5? Yeah, wow.
I'm going to go
That
over.
is wild. I think that this team is primed for they're going to just hold on to Pascal and OG Anunoby until the day they die. I think they're going to maybe trade Poeltl. I could see I could see a team like the Warriors trying to trade for Poeltl. I could see a team like, what's another, honestly.
Who needs a center? What, go back to the Spurs?
The Spurs could use them. You know, throw Zach Collins in a pick. They just give him a pick back.
I think the Spurs should just let it rock for now. We'll get to that.
Maybe the Spurs can just let it rock, but the Grizzlies are going to trade for Jakob Poeltl. Steven Adams just went out for the season.
Yeah, that makes the most sense to me. I think Jakob fills.
Jaren Jackson cannot play center. We saw that in the International Cup.
And Jaren Jackson can't fly off the weak side to get all of his blocks and his counting stats without a true center in the game.
Yeah.
And Jakob Poeltl is not very mobile, but neither is Steven Adams. They fill the same role.
Yeah. I don't really like Dennis Schroeder that much. I'm going to be completely honest. They got whatever's left of Otto Porter Jr., Gary Trent, fine.
Dennis Schroeder just had a great FIBA World Cup.
I know. I mean, Germany won, but I just don't know. I just don't see. This team has a lot of okay to good players, and I think that the conference is good enough to where they just are not going to win that many games. I don't like them. I'm going under.
And
Lock it in.
Lock in the over. Shout out Marquise Noel real quick while we're looking at guards on the Toronto Raptors. Another under 6 foot player made it to the NBA.
5'8".
5'8".
He's on the two-way though. He's not on the team for sure.
Well, shout out you, Marquise Noel.
We hope you make it. Hope you make it.
Praying for you, brother. He played at Kansas State. Anybody that watched his run in March Madness, wow, that was fun.
Yeah, from Little Rock, Arkansas. Wow, that's actually impressive. Who comes from Little Rock, Arkansas? Bill Clinton from there? Maybe.
Oof, we don't need to get into all that.
Yeah,
but who do we have next?
Who we have next? So we have finished the Atlantic Division.
Nice.
We're moving to the Southeast, and we're going to start with the reigning Eastern Conference champion. The reigning Eastern Conference champion, the Miami Heat.
Okay, there's not much good to say about what just happened to the Miami Heat. They lost Gabe Vincent. They lost Max Strus.
Yep.
Jimmy Butler is never motivated in the regular season.
Yep.
So how can he get these guys to really rally around him if he's not playing in the regular season? And I do think Tyler Hero is going to have an amazing season.
Tyler Hero wants to watch the world burn. After everything he went through this summer with constant them trying to push the him for Dame trade. Look, every Miami Heat fan in my life, including one of our best friends, Jake Kaufman, the king of Miami Heat basketball, if you've ever seen the video of Tyler Hero signing a bucket, that was my friend Jake's bucket.
Shout out Jake.
Yeah, Miami Heat. Please follow him back on Twitter. He's been asking for years. But the Miami Heat do follow him.
You guys use that picture of my buddy with the bucket a lot. You know, just show him some love. He's a good kid.
Yeah, that's all we're saying.
He loves the city.
But every single Miami Heat fan in my life is just absolutely livid that they didn't get Dame. I mean, they were basically told they were going to have Dame for like 3 months.
Pat Riley was asleep the entire summer.
Pat Riley should probably retire.
I think Pat Riley's time is most likely done. Let's let the Heat play out this year, maybe one more year, and after that, it's like, Pat, hey man, you've had a Hall of Fame career without a doubt. No one can say anything about your resume, but maybe it's time for someone else to have a chance at the helm. The Miami Heat, Tyler Hero will have an absolutely amazing regular season. After all those trade rumors, I think he's going to go out and be like, whatever. I'm going to ball. I'm going to make the most out of this situation. I'm going to get paid either way and show people that I want to play winning basketball. Whatever else the Heat do, I don't really think it's going to be impressive.
But Tyler Hero did not play in that finals run. So let's replace Gabe Vincent, who is very streaky and had a really good playoffs, but we'll get to him later when we talk about the Lakers. Replace Gabe Vincent with Tyler Hero. Replace Max Strus's minutes with just more Duncan Robinson. I could see this team is either going to do two things. So option number one is every single person on the team is like, damn you to the entire NBA and all of the media for no one caring about them and only talking about the Sixers and the Bucks and the Celtics and the Cavs, not even mentioning the Heat, and they're going to be like the 3 seed. Option number two, I think, is the same thing as what happened last year. They're going to be a play-in team. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to just absolutely give hell to whoever they play in the first round.
They're going to give hell in the playoffs. If they make it to the playoffs, they will give hell.
Dude, with the Bucks, with all the depth they lost, if they're, let's say, the 2 seed, the Heat get the 7 seed, would anyone be surprised if they beat the Bucks again? I would not. I would not be surprised at all. What Dame is going to guard Tyler Hero? You're gonna put Chris Middleton, you're gonna put Chris Middleton on Jimmy Butler again.
Listen, if Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are hot for the entire series and Jimmy just plays regular playoff basketball, then he can win that team. Because I'm a firm believer in any team in the NBA can beat any other team if they're playing their best ball, right? Yeah. I think that. Overall, I don't think that Bucks team should beat the Heat in the playoffs. Sorry. I don't think that Heat team should beat the Bucks.
No, they probably shouldn't, because Giannis should be really good. But in the scenario where they get the 7 seed, okay, they beat the Bucks. All right, who did we think was going to be 4-5? Nets, Knicks. Okay, now they play Nets or Knicks in the second round. I could see.
They're not beating the Knicks again. Not after last year. They're not beating the
all right, well, I think let's do a coin flip. I feel like this just opens such a perfect storm for the Heat to get back to the conference finals. Heat Celtics again in the conference finals. I feel like this has happened a dozen times in the last, 15 years. And then who knows what happens? You know, Jaylen Brown hurts his knee, and now the Heat are in the finals again. I just feel like it's so dumb to me to just count out the Heat when every single time I think they're bad, they just go on an absolute tear. Heat, to me, what do you think their over-under is?
I don't know. I don't know what Vegas thinks about the Heat, to be completely honest with you. But I do have some points on Jimmy Butler and the culture of the Heat.
44.5.
Jimmy Butler drives the culture of the Miami Heat right now.
Yeah.
He fits in with what the Miami Heat were already about.
Yep.
But then his own personality has been baked into the culture now.
Yes.
The team goes how he goes, and people view the team as Jimmy Butler. As they view Jimmy Butler,
they all view him like he's a member of Fall Out Boy now, like the Miami Heat, just like the early 2000s punk rocker.
Well, whatever Jimmy Butler does is how people view.
Pull up the Jimmy Butler's NBA
Please don't
picture.
pull up that picture, Tom. So, I think this. Okay, so we were talking about the Heat and Celtics, right? How many times have they faced each other in the last 15 years? But how many times in recent history when they faced each other has it been billed as an all-time rivalry, you know?
Yeah.
And we're not getting that feeling, and I just want to say I think Jimmy Butler is being disrespected as a superstar.
Well, okay, let's go two years back, okay? You remember it was Heat Celtics in the conference finals. That was when the Celtics ended up winning. They played the Warriors. Game 7 of that conference finals, it came down to a Jimmy Butler runs down the court, shoots a 3, he bricks it. Okay, he misses. If Jimmy Butler makes that 3, there you go. He's now in the finals 3 of 4 years. Okay?
I still don't think he gets the respect. I just don't think
he doesn't. That's the thing. It's like Jimmy Butler has put this Heat team in a position to have a chance at winning a championship 3 really good times. Okay? And that's more than Embiid ever has. By the way, it was Jimmy that put that 2019 Sixers team in a position to almost make the conference finals that year and maybe
they
compete.
all followed his lead.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has set up a contending team more times than Joel Embiid has, more times than Kevin Durant has since he's left the Warriors, more times than Kyrie Irving has since he left LeBron James. More times than, Devin Booker's only done it once. Had an absolute crater of a series versus the Mavericks 2 years ago, when they were the one seed.
And the NBA just refuses to bill Jimmy Butler as a full-on superstar.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because of his personality. I think just the unseriousness that Jimmy radiates sometimes make people think that he's not really a superstar or that he somehow falls into these situations. NBA players do not just fall into going to the finals.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen, and that's a ridiculous way to think about it. Jimmy Butler should be viewed as a superstar, and, my Miami Heat fans are going to love this. He should be viewed in terms of Heat legacy right up there with LeBron James in terms of what he's doing for this team.
100%.
For winningness in the playoffs. Has he won rings? No. But how difficult is it to bring teams that far?
Yeah.
Especially when guys go lifeless in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we also have to take into context, like, the first run when it was in the bubble versus the Lakers. They're leading. So Jimmy Butler was the leader of the team, but he was more so like in every category kind of guy. The leading scorer coming into the finals was Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic gets hurt. Okay, so they lose their leading scorer for that playoffs. The next time, this year, Jimmy Butler tweaks his ankle. Okay, Jimmy Butler after that game versus the Knicks did not look good. Did not look that good the rest of the way. I know that they beat the Celtics, but still, that Celtics series and then again against the Nuggets did not look that great. So, some context here. If the Heat can kind of stay healthy, I think they can do it. I think they can go to the finals. Why not? I don't think they will, but
I think the Heat can go to the finals with the right combination of injuries. I just think with this depleted team and going through all these Dame trade rumors, maybe not this year. If they sneak their way into the playoffs, don't doubt Jimmy.
All right.
I think that's everyone's opinion on this.
So I think we're in. I think honestly that like 44 to 45 game line is really good. I think they might just be around there.
Yeah.
I could see them being. I don't want to
right under.
Yeah, maybe right under. I could see the 3 seed option, but I like 7 seed more. I like bang bang Bucks go down. That storyline would just be insane. And then I want a cap cut to someone asking Giannis if his season's a failure again, and hear him say, "No, it's never a failure." Like, okay, bro, I get it. You're embarrassed and you're upset.
Yeah, so I'm going under. You're going.
I just want to go 44/45, right on the money. Let's just say they're a 7 or 6 seed, and go from there. I kind of want to be wishy-washy about it.
I'm gonna go Heat win 42 games. What did they win last year, Tommy? Can you pull that up real quick? Miami Heat.
Remember when they almost lost to the Bulls and they didn't in the play-in?
Yeah, that was because of DeMar DeRozan's daughter.
Yeah, DeMar DeRozan's daughter did not go to Miami for that game, and essentially lost him the game because the way she screamed.
Heat 44-38 last season.
I think it's the same.
I'm going to go just 2 games under that, 42 and 40.
Sure. I think that works. I think it's probably going to be around the same. Shout out DeMar DeRozan's daughter for her screaming being the ultimate free throw stopper. We're not going to play it because it just will hurt your ears, but please look up DeMar DeRozan's daughter screaming during basketball game on YouTube.
I feel like some people tried to get her banned from the arena, but she's just a really good fan. It's like trying to ban the brotherly shove. Sorry, she's just really good at what she does.
I mean, you can't ban a 10-year-old. Imagine telling an NBA player, yeah, your elementary school daughter cannot come watch you play. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, unless they open up like a juvie section in the arena.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. The next up is the Hornets, and I kind of want to make this quick. I don't have a lot to say about the Hornets. I mean, LaMelo Ball, great.
We love LaMelo. We love
LaMelo. He misses half the season every year.
It's because of those big baller brand shoes.
You think so?
Destroyed his feet, man.
Dude, it might be. It might actually be because of the big baller brand shoes.
But I'm gonna still shout out LeVar Ball for doing everything he could to set up his boys and put them in the best position possible to succeed, not just as basketball players, but entrepreneurs starting their own businesses. I think LeVar is not necessarily ideal father for everyone, but in my eyes, a great father.
I mean,
I would like to see him in more games, though.
I would love to see him in more games. I think the kids told him to take a little bit of a back seat. But I will say that he wasn't always trying to be the center of attention. So I remember my freshman year at UCLA. That was when Lonzo was in his first year there as well.
Electric. He brought back UCLA basketball.
Start of the season for basketball. I think we were playing CSU Long Beach or University of Long Beach, some Long Beach school. And me and a couple of my friends, we sat not in the student section, but courtside, kind of in the back, back corner of the gym. And right below us was all the ball boys. So LiAngelo, LaMelo, LeVar.
We were at that game together, I think.
Were we? Maybe. But the one thing I have pierced in my mind is, LaMelo was a child at that point. So he was just trying to, not talk to anybody. But I said what's up to LeVar, and incredibly nice guy. He just said, man, I'm so proud of my son. I'm just happy to be here. We're just trying to, keep it classy and all these things. And yeah, maybe his head got a little big, but great dad. He put his sons in a great position. Unfortunate that LiAngelo, isn't quite at that level that I think we see LaMelo and Lonzo at. But that said, love LaMelo. He misses half the year. The Hornets for the past 3 years have had a great regular season record in games. And at the start of the season, it always feels like when Gordon Hayward is playing, Gordon Hayward always misses time. Kai Jones has just been tripping.
The GOAT.
According to Kai Jones, he's the GOAT.
And he said he has infinite money, but once you get cut, how much of that contract do you get to keep?
As a rookie, probably not that much, especially because he got cut for having awful character and just freaking the hell out and tripping on...
You know what happened.
On IG, what happened?
What happened?
What happened? Tell me. Hit me.
He dunked on Wembanyama in the preseason.
Is that the conspiracy theory we're going with?
Adam Silver, you got to get out of here, bud. That's bad for business right there. You can't be dunking on the face of the NBA.
I mean, you can't be dunking on Victor Wembanyama because that's the whole marketing strategy of the NBA right now. Did he only start freaking out after he dunked on Wemby?
Oh, yeah. I don't think I've ever seen Kai Jones have like a freak. I don't think I ever knew a single thing about Kai Jones' personal life, who he is as a person, until after
here's the Kai Jones dunk on Wemby. Let's see it.
Oh my
God. And
God.
then did you see that? Bro, I just saw the ghost of David Stern come and lift him away into the shadow realm. Yeah, wow. That's crazy. Wow. He got up. Well, he's not on the team anymore. He's not in the NBA.
That one gets better and better the more that you watch it.
Yeah.
Because Wemby got a hand on that, could have knocked it out. Kai Jones had the strength and awareness to get that ball back and put it on his head. They had to get him out of the league expeditiously. That's bad for business.
Oh, absolutely bad for business. You know what? For some reason, the Hornets think is good for business. Miles Bridges is still on the team. He's gonna be in jail. like, what is this team? This team is Gordon Hayward, who is just gonna get hurt immediately. LaMelo Ball, who also always gets hurt immediately. You have Miles Bridges, who is going to go to jail for being a absolute awful human being. You have Kai Jones, got cut. You have PJ Washington, who's good. You know, he'll be great for fantasy basketball. What do you think the over-under for this team is?
Over-under for the Hornets?
Yeah.
Let's say 38.
You really go high on these over-unders. It's 31.5. Do you think they clear that? They're an under for me.
They're an under for me.
Yeah, they're an under for me.
I think they get some injuries. And they're just unable to make that happen. Yeah. I think LaMelo's probably going to get his way out of this team eventually. Come on. Does this affect Michael Jordan's GOAT status? Because
he's not the owner anymore. Not the owner of the team anymore.
He's not the owner anymore, but he was the owner every moment until this point.
True.
Right?
True.
And Michael Jordan
does it affect his GOAT status just because he's a bad evaluator of talent?
Yes.
I mean, why? It doesn't change how he is as a player.
Basketball IQ down. Is this bad for business talking about Michael Jordan like this? Can we do this on our first podcast?
Probably not. Michael Jordan, I love you. I love you, MJ. I think you're the GOAT.
We got the Jordan sponsorship. For UCLA.
Hey, I'm the one wearing Nikes. Him, Puma.
No,
you know who he gets?
Don't do that. I got the Jordan socks on right here, baby.
All right, he got the Jordan socks on, but he's wearing Puma slides. So he's he's a DeAndre Ayton and a Marvin Bagley fanboy.
No, because I'm supporting LaMelo right here. See, this is me supporting Jordan.
All right.
And shout out Jordan on the UCLA gear now.
Oh, absolutely.
That's fire.
Oh my God,
that's fire.
Everything is so good.
Yeah.
All the merch. We went to UCLA, so Forza Bruins. But we got the under on the Hornets. We're going Wizards next. And let me tell you something about the Washington Wizards. I absolutely am in love with the Washington Wizards. Their over-under is 24.5. And I think they're a super popular candidate for worst team in the league. I think a lot of people think that. I think they are going to let it rip. I cannot wait. I hate Jordan Poole. Hate him. No player made me as upset watching what Jordan Poole would do to Steph's emotions last year. And despite all of that pent up hatred, I think he's going to average 25, 26 points a game. I think Kyle Kuzma is going to be like, oh, no Kristaps, no Bradley Beal. I am also going to average 25, 26 points a game. I think Denny Avdia, who was incredible in games that Porzingis and Kuzma missed last year, is going to be in love with his new role. I love that they took Jordan Poole.
Wait. You said Denny Avdia is going to be in love with his new role?
I think Denny Avdia is going to relish the fact that every couple of games, the Wizards are going to try and tank, and they're going to rest Kuzma or they're going to rest Jordan Poole, and Denny Avdia is just going to go for 35 points. And I think they're going to have the time of their lives. I love that they got Tyus Jones, who I think was probably the best backup point guard in the NBA last year, behind Ja Morant. I think he just never turns the ball over. Did they get Monte Morris too? Do they have Monte Morris still?
No, I don't think so. Not anymore, no.
Oh, not anymore.
They got rid of Monte Morris. They're going to have enough ball handling between Poole and Tyus Jones.
Yeah.
Landry Shamet is comfortable handling the ball.
Yeah,
well.
Landry Shamet, he's just going to be there hucking threes when the ball comes his way.
I saw Ryan Rollins, and I thought of Ryan Hollins.
They got the coach. They got the old Grizzlies coach. But Tyus Jones, I think, just going to be a master distributor of the ball. He doesn't turn it over. It's the perfect balance for Poole, because the problem with Poole is that he tries to be fancy because he wants to be like Steph. Well, Steph is also really fancy, so now everyone's just turning the ball over. Now you got Tyus Jones, who is maybe kind of boring, but great, and he's just not going to turn the ball over. And they got who I think is the second most exciting player from this year's draft, Bilal Coulibaly. I love Coulibaly. He is like 19 years old. He played with Wemby for a year. He's still growing. He just looks like a little bounce man. If you watch One Piece, Bilal Coulibaly reminds me of Luffy. I love this kid. I think he's going to be awful the first half of the season, but I can see him evolving into just a monster. I think that there's enough scoring on this team that before the trade deadline, they're going to win 18 games.
I agree with you.
15 to 18 games before the trade deadline. They're going to trade away some players. They're going to try and tank. And still, throughout the rest of the season, they're going to get another 7-8 wins just from Jordan Poole going ballistic randomly for 40 points maybe. And they're going to crush this 24.5 over. I think I can see them getting to like 28 wins, 29 wins. I don't think they're going to be the worst team in the league.
I think they're going to be just over.
Just over. But
over.
Would you take it? Would you take the 24.5 over?
Yes. They would be just over that. The thing about this Wizards team, which you've kind of alluded to, is that they're a two-faced team. You know? Yeah. You're going to have times where everyone is playing together and you're like, wow, there's a lot of weapons, a lot of young weapons, a lot of young guys with something to prove, right? Yep. And it's going to be exciting. You know, they're going to go ballistic. They're going to have some hot streaks that they go on. Yeah. But there's times, like you said, where they're just going to go all in on tanking. And you're going to see a bunch of first and second year players playing and be like, what Wizards team are you going to get on a nightly basis? You don't know? Oh,
I do know what we're going to get when we see the Celtics, though. When the Wizards play the Celtics, you know who's coming back? Who's coming back from his ACL or Achilles injury? Danilo Gallinari. And Danilo Gallinari said to a reporter, I think it was an Italian reporter, he's like, the Celtics, I've circled it on my calendar. Revenge game. You know, he is going to get his get back. Why is Danilo Gallinari upset that they traded him when he just didn't play all year? I have no idea.
Knicks legend Danilo Gallinari. The Italian Stallion.
The Italian Stallion. He is going to play against the Celtics. They're just going to hold out everyone. It's going to be like Danilo Gallinari and Denny Avdia versus the entire Celtics, and Danilo's going to go off for like 38 points.
I'm going to pick him up.
We're going to be like, what is going on?
I'm going to pick him up for that fantasy week.
Oh, dude, yeah. I will race you to pick up Danilo Gallinari
I'll use my waiver.
Celtics.
I'll get to the number one spot in waivers just to take Danilo, my Knicks legend.
All right, well,
for that game,
I don't get Danilo Gallinari then if he's gonna big brain it that hard. But I just love this team. I drafted Jordan Poole in my fantasy basketball league. I just want to watch this team. I think everyone is super fun. Do I think they're gonna be good? No. Like, I'm predicting they win 28 games. But do I think that they're going to be competitive in a lot of games they shouldn't be? Absolutely. So next, we have a team that I think actually has a chance at being very good and being very, very good if they make a trade. We have the Magic up next.
So I love the Orlando Magic. Personally, I think the Orlando Magic have done a little bit of sifting of players and talents to see who's going to be a fit for their team, how they're going to structure their offense, and basically what players to plug and play together. I know for a fact they're going to stick with Markelle as the point. Yeah. They love Markelle as the point. And he fits in great, and he's had a renaissance. Like, he's come back as a player fully from when people thought he was just going to be a bust. Markel is a great might be strong, really, really good point guard.
I mean, they also were able to trade away Vooch, get picks, and Wendell Carter Jr., who's just now better than Vucevic.
And as a secondary ball handler, they have Franz Wagner.
Oh, yeah.
We don't know what the ceiling with Franz Wagner is right now.
I think Franz Wagner is absolutely incredible. I mean, he plays power forward, he plays small forward, he plays shooting guard, he can handle the ball to be a point guard. I think Franz Wagner, honestly, just reminds me of a less athletic Paul George. Paul George, obviously, the thing that made Paul George so special is that he's everything Franz is.
That he grew 2 extra inches after he came to the NBA.
That he grew 2 extra inches. Shout out Fresno State, by the way.
It's that Fresno water.
Yeah, it's that Fresno water, straight up, for real. All the chemicals in it. It makes me really sad. I'm from there. But the thing with Paul George is that he could do everything offensively with a handle, a 3-ball, and was also, a top 3 defender in the league. I don't think Franz is like that. But in terms of just offensively on the offensive side of the ball, he reminds me of a slower Paul George. He can handle, he has a great jumper, he can bully ball too because he's pretty big. He's like 6'7", 6'8". He looks bigger than his listed height when he's on the court. I love that. I think Paulo Banchero is insane. I think he's going
young Melo. He's young. He's our modern day Carmelo Anthony.
Absolutely. And I love Wendell Carter Jr. and I think that incredible defensive talent. I think where we really see this team unlock itself is if Jonathan Isaac can come back and he finally stays healthy and we get a run of Banchero at the 5, Isaac, Franz, Markelle Fultz, and then throw in like a Jalen Suggs or Cole Anthony, one of the two.
I don't think Banchero at the 5.
Dude, I think Banchero at the 5 is just such a massive mismatch for 90% of teams.
I think it would be Isaac at the 5.
You put Isaac at the 5?
Yeah, Isaac would play the 5 in a slightly... It's not even a small lineup, really. Isaac's 6'11".
Well, yeah, but he moves like he's 6'9".
Oh, yeah. If you put Isaac at the 5, Banchero at the 4.
Okay.
Who do we got at 3? We're going to put Franz at the 3.
Yeah.
Who do we want to put at 2 here?
I like Markelle and Jalen Suggs, to be honest.
I like Jalen Suggs, but I feel like he could go either way. We still don't 100% know if Jalen Suggs is going to develop into a great NBA player or if he's kind of like maxed out and going to be streaky for the rest of his career. I do think that the Magic feel like very confident in Markelle Fultz and Cole Anthony. I think moving forward, that's how the Magic will have their point guard set up. Cole Anthony will be Markelle Fultz's backup.
Okay. How do you feel about their rookies? They got Jet Howard. I have no opinion on him.
See, Jet Howard.
Anthony Black.
What picks did they take them with?
It was like 6 and 8.
6 and 8.
It was something like that, yeah.
Jeez, we're going to need our college basketball expert.
Yeah.
Tommy, can you weigh in on this?
Sorry, not the biggest draft guy. I don't like watching college basketball.
College basketball can be tough for me, too.
6 and 11. Okay, so it wasn't 6-8. I don't know what I was thinking of. But, I think they traded backwards.
Yeah, I don't know. So they got 2 guards. I don't really think these guys are going to see the court very much. I don't think they factor into the Orlando Magic equation for this season.
I think they trade them. That's what I was saying earlier. I just feel like, I feel like we've been saying this for a decade now, that the Magic are a point guard away. Mm-hmm. Because they were also a point guard away when they had Terrence Ross and Vucevic going off, and Evan Fournier was not washed yet. Aaron Gordon on the team. They've always been a point guard away. And Markelle Fultz is good, but I think that trading one or both of these first rounders, trading Jalen Suggs, I think that they could get somewhat of a veteran point guard. I just feel like if they just had someone of like Derek White's level, just a good defensive guard that can distribute a ball.
Would you take Malcolm Brogdon? They could probably get him for cheap right now.
I would. I think Malcolm Brogdon would be very good on this team, actually. I think that would work out really well. I love that. Not only do I like Malcolm Brogdon, I also like if the Spurs, continue to experiment with Jeremy Sochan at the 1, or they try and up like Malachi Branham's minutes. I really like them trading for Trey Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trey Jones is an excellent distributor. I think that would work out really well for the Magic too. But what do you think the Magic's over is? I think this one's a kind of hard one to guess.
What are they? How many games did they win last year?
Can you check that real quick,
Tommy? Because I'm putting my overs. I'm putting the over/under number way too high for a lot of these teams.
Yeah. Just go previous season.
Yeah, right under there.
They were 34 and 48 last year.
34 and 48. I don't imagine it's going to be very different than that.
You don't think it's going to be better? You don't think Banchero gets better?
36. I'll put them at 36.
They're over. So you're close, actually. So they're over under 37.5.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I really like Franz. I really like Banchero. This is one of my overs. I think that this is a play-in team with a chance of making the playoffs. But I really do see them in that kind of 8-9 area.
I see this team making the play-in 100%. I think there's going to be a really fun season for the Orlando Magic.
Yeah. I would love to be a Magic fan right now. I think that they have a lot to root for, and their team is
best time to be a Magic fan in a very long time since they had Dwight Howard. This is a fun young team, and rarely do you get a young team that you also feel very confident in who is occupying what space on the floor.
Yeah.
So I'm going over. I think the Magic are going to be an insanely fun team to watch. I picked 3 Magic players for my fantasy team. I have Markelle Fultz, I have Paolo Banchero, and I have Franz Wagner. So I'm riding with the 2023-2024 Orlando Magic.
The thing is, the Magic lost a lot of very close games last year. There were a lot of games
insanely close.
Yes,
yeah.
There were a lot of games that were within 3 points, like going down to the last couple minutes, and they lost because they're a young, inexperienced team that would just get sunned by veteran players. They're older now. They're better now. I think that if they make no trades, they have a better record than last year because all their young players are better. And if they do make a trade and get a experienced point guard that can kind of calm people down, I think this team starts reaching up into the low 40s.
I think Paolo and I think Franz are absolute dogs. They're not worried about anything. Their confidence is set in stone.
Oh, 100%.
Markelle has been through the ringer, being a first overall pick, being traded as an absolute bust, and then making his career comeback like this.
Yep.
I think these guys are dogs. They're confident, and those losses, those 50-50 losses at the end of games, that number is going to shrink and get smaller and smaller over the next few years.
And I know that this is 2 overs in a row for me. I really need to, at the end of this, we'll see how many overs and unders I have. But this next team, I have as an over, and I'm not happy about it. So next up, we have the Hawks. And I think Trae Young is not very good, okay? I think people try to make it seem like he is on, both Atlanta and the Mavericks won that trade. Absolutely not. Trae Young is infinitely worse than Luka. Do I like Trae Young as a player? Yes. As a player that can be like your second best player, yes. Do I like Trae Young's attitude? Absolutely. Him against the Knicks, when he's just like, everyone, shut up, like, or, everyone, boo me. I love that. But I just don't think, I think he's so bad at defense that it's rough. But I love DeJounte, and I know that he's hated on my Spurs since he left. But I just think that if DeJounte buys in and he can really hunker down and play defense, I think no more John Collins was a massive distraction last year. I think with Clint Capella still looks in good shape. I think Onyeka Okongwu looks good. I just like this team for the over. I think that, do you remember the playoffs last year when they played the Celtics?
Oh, yeah.
And everyone just thought it was going to be a sweep, and they looked really good. Well, they did change coaches last year, right? They got Quinn Snyder, who is just used to being the 1 seed Utah Jazz. I just like this team to be a top 6 seed. I just like them to be a top 6 seed, man.
Yeah, AJ Griffin. What was he? He was a rookie last year. He had a lot of good moments for them.
Yeah.
They have some young guys.
They got Patty Mills now.
Oh yeah.
They still got Bogdan Bogdanovic. They still got DeAndre Hunter, who kind of a bust, but he had some good games for him. They have Sadiq Bey, who is a fantasy all-star for the Pistons.
You're huge on DeJounte Murray. I like DeJounte when he was on the Spurs.
Yeah.
When he came to Atlanta, he's doing all this kind of clown stuff, bouncing the ball off people's faces, acting crazy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I see DeJounte go on other people's podcasts and talk and stuff, and dude, I love the way that he talks in those scenarios, and I'm like, yo, this is a guy that has himself figured out. Like, he's done soul searching on himself, and he knows himself. I'm just wondering why his attitude comes out a little bit like that on this Hawks team. Do you think that bleeds into the locker room at all, or not?
Okay,
really?
so I mean, we saw the same thing with Trey last year too. We saw the same thing with John Collins. I think that what happened is that DeJounte went from Popovich, who everyone just has to respect because he's Coach Pop, went to a team where Trae Young just does not like the coach. John Collins does not like Trae Young or the coach. Everyone on the team just looks a little bit upset. DeJounte is probably like, no one is professional here. So why am I going to act professional? And I think it's a subconscious thing. But Quinn Snyder, he's from that Popovich coaching tree. He is going to tell everyone to shut up and practice, shut up and run my plays, shut up and go to the gym. He is going to really, he's going to manage the hell out of that team.
Quinn Snyder was able to hold together that Utah team with all the issues with Donovan and
Gobert. And they hated each other, and they still got the 1 seed.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just feel that the combination, they have so many talented young players that when you add in Quinn Snyder as a coach, they're going to be really good. And last year, they were 500 the entire year. I think they went 41-41 last year. Like,
I want to say 42 and
40. Yeah, 41-41. And not only that, they were 500 the entire year. Like, they were like 20-20, 28-28, 35-35. Like, it just went that way the entire season. Their over-under is 42.5. Their over-under is them winning 2 more games. And their team has way less distractions on it and a way better coach.
Yeah, I'm going to go over on this one. I like Trae Young. I think probably a little bit more than you, which sounds weird for a Knicks fan, right? Yeah. But I think Trae Young, he's a walking 30 and 10. And now while a lot of players can get good counting stats and their team's not that good, I think the fact that you can get those counting stats does say a lot about you as a player, in terms of what you can do in the right setting. And Trae has the confidence, right? Yeah. He exudes that confidence. Yeah. It bleeds into the team, and people think this guy can really make the shots at the right time and get us where we need to be. If we can all just get the team close enough to win games, we're confident in Trae Young's ability to bring us home.
Honestly, I think that their season hinges on Trae Young's start of the season. I think if Trae Young balls out, I'm talking about like he has a great first 15 games, he looks like he's a top 6-7 point guard. Everyone else buys fully in.
I think he will. I think Trae Young is a good enough player and has been a good enough player for such a long time and that confident that he knows he needs to come out and set that tone and be like, yeah, we traded for DeJounte. Yeah, DeJounte should be my co-star, but he's coming to my team. Yeah, it's our team, but he came to my team. I need to show him that I'm locked in.
I can see it. I'm over. I think they're going to be like the 6th seed.
Yeah.
I like them for the 6th seed, and I think whoever they play in that first round is going to be very unhappy. Because I think they're very feisty.
I'm over. I like the Clint Capella, Trae Young connection sometimes. Sometimes I don't love it. Maybe if they get a different big man in the mix in that team, I could see that team getting even better.
I think that if the team runs how I would want them to run, with Clint Capella just sprinting up and down the floor and catching lobs and getting rebounds, because now that John Collins is out of the picture, I think they really need Clint Capella's rebounding skills. I think if they play how I want them to play, I think Clint Capella is perfect for him. But I could also see them trying to move off him, get maybe just like a more athletic kind of power forward guy. I think if they could somehow trade for like a Santi Aldama, that would be really good. But we'll see. So we're done with the Southeast Division. We're on to the Central Division. This division has a lot of teams that I hate and a couple teams that I'm like, yeah, I like it. I want to start with the Cavs.
Okay. What to say about the Cavs? The Cavs really felt like a young team once the playoffs hit, you know? That inexperience in the playoffs really hit them. Even though Donovan has been in the playoffs plenty of times, 50-point games, we know his resume. The rest of those guys were woefully unprepared to be in the playoffs. Evan Mobley, Darius Garland. I think,
Evan Mobley.
I love
Evan Mobley. I thought Evan Mobley looked like he was turning into young Tim Duncan. And he just made me so sad.
Listen. My Knicks won that series. 5 games, gentleman sweep, right?
Yeah.
It should have been a much more competitive series from a talent perspective.
I mean, Donovan Mitchell is like a first-team All-NBA guy, basically. And he looked incredible the entire regular season. Looked absolutely incredible.
MVP candidate for a lot of the season.
And he just had one good game in the playoffs, and that's it.
Yeah, so I don't
Which is uncharacteristic for him. He is normally a very good playoff performer.
Yeah.
I mean, he was the one trading 50-point games with Jamal Murray in the bubble. He's the guy that beat the Westbrook and Paul George first year together in
Sure.
OKC. He has proven that he can be good in the playoffs.
And I think the main issue was the rest of the guys were just young. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, they didn't know. Everyone on that Utah team had a well-defined role, and they knew what they were doing come playoff time.
Yeah.
Everyone on this Cavs team, they thought they knew what they were supposed to do, but they really didn't.
Yeah.
Once it came down to it, Evan Mobley was a deer in headlights. I don't think that's going to happen this year because I have tremendous faith.
Jared Allen even said.
I have tremendous faith in Evan Mobley, and his skill, and we've seen his work ethic and the amount of things he can do on the court. He's like a young Tim Duncan. He's like a young Kevin Garnett. I think he's going to come out with a vengeance this year. Evan Mobley's going to have something to prove.
But can he play with Jared Allen? Do you remember what Jared Allen said after that playoff series? He was like, the lights were brighter than I thought they would be. The quote's something like that. Tommy, can you just pull up a meme of Jared Allen saying that? And yeah, there it is. First picture, Tommy. The lights were brighter than expected.
Those guys, they just weren't ready, and Donovan Mitchell wasn't ready to impart that knowledge onto them about the playoffs. Which will come. Donovan Mitchell's still a young player himself.
Absolutely. But can Jared Allen and Evan Mobley play together? Is Evan Mobley a Tim Duncan, or does he just have to play center? Can he play 10 feet from the rim and develop a jumper? Develop a bank shot?
I think Evan Mobley can score from anywhere on the court. It's tough. I feel like a lot of power forwards are sort of losing their space in the NBA.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't have room to operate. We can talk about like DeAndre Ayton. We can talk about Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
They're guys that feel like they don't really fit in because teams just aren't really looking for a power forward star.
But Evan Mobley, if he develops a bank shot, then he's just better than Giannis.
Nobody wants to shoot in that in-between space. If you can consistently make a floater or a little bank shot from about 7 feet, listen, every big man thinks, I can shoot in the post, I can make layups, I can dunk. I'm going to shoot some threes to space the floor. No, if you can just make a little push shot from 7 feet out, that is almost as valuable as you being able to hit a long ball.
Yes, but the problem is Evan Mobley doesn't have a go-to move. Did he develop one this offseason? I don't know. I don't know really what to think about. I think this team is like a 3-seed team because I like everything. I love Donovan Mitchell. I think he's great.
Max Strus.
I think Darius Garland is a top 5 point guard in the Eastern Conference. I think he reminds me of a little bit worse Steph. Yeah, like you said, they got Max Strus,
Georges Niang.
They got Georges Niang, the winningest player of the 2020s.
Drafted Imani Bates, who has looked really good in Summer League and preseason. He could be like a little Jordan Clarkson for them.
He could be a little Jordan Clarkson for him, and I think his stock's only going to go up.
Oh, yeah.
Ricky Rubio is coming back. He missed last year. He was excellent for the Cavs when he was healthy.
Oh, phenomenal.
And during the regular season, the Cavs had like the best defense in the league. And it was at one point in the regular season, it was a historically good defense. Playing Jarrett and Mobley together.
While having Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
While having the worst defensive
guards.
backcourt in the conference, basically. So, I mean, it's hard to say because I think that my issues with Mobley and Jarrett Allen playing together in the playoffs, that will not translate to the regular season. And I think the regular season prospects, really good. And I need a 3 seed, and I don't think it's going to be the Sixers. We talked about it not being the Heat. So what do you think their over-under is?
I'm going to say the Cavaliers over-under is set at 59.
59?
Yeah.
Like, you think the over-under is for them to win 60 games?
Yeah.
Dude, it's 50.5.
50.5?
I mean, I'm taking 50.5. They had 51 last year.
There we go. So it went down?
Their over-under is
the exact same as last year.
Exact same as last year. And I don't see how... Like, last year, they never even had a small forward. It was like, do I play Isaac Okoro and not have him do anything on offense? And now you can play Georges Niang or Max Strus instead of him? Like, I don't know, man. I mean...
Listen,
I like them to win like 54 games.
I think
54 games.
I think the Cavs are going to win in the... Yeah, I'm going to say around 55 games. I think they can get to 55, 56.
If they get to 56, I think they're a 2 seed.
Yeah.
I think they're above the Bucks.
They can do that. I think the Cavs can very easily not get to where the Celtics are exactly just because of the sheer amount of star power on the Celtics, but be so close to that in terms of regular season success.
I think they just win on defense.
Like you said about their defense, right?
Yeah.
That they've already established that they can create a great, a great defense.
Yeah.
Even with 2 minuses, 2 negatives.
Yep.
In terms of their backcourt.
Yep.
And I feel
and now they just added scoring.
Evan Mobley is a younger guy.
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that he's locked in on defense first before shifting to offense.
Yeah.
If he figures out his offense this year, this team is going to start getting to push 60 wins.
Oh, dude. But we have to think about the other side of the ball that I just thought of. If they're looking bad or kind of mediocre before the trade deadline, Donovan Mitchell's contract is going to run up next year or two. He doesn't want to stay in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So do we think that there's a RJ Barrett for Donovan Mitchell trade coming? We know he wanted to go to the Knicks.
I think the Knicks would finally make that move for
But
Donovan
do you think
Mitchell.
they would do it without knowing what's going to happen to Embiid? Because...
Listen. I don't think the Knicks are going to realistically go after Joel Embiid.
Okay.
They lowballed Kevin Durant.
They did lowball Kevin Durant.
Okay, everybody that was in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes before he went to the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep.
They offered Kevin Durant the max. The Knicks were the only team that were in the mix that lowballed him, and rightfully so. We don't need to make pitches for injured stars.
Yeah.
We have great infrastructure on our team right now. If a healthy younger guy who fits the timeline of our team also wants to come in, we'll take him.
Yeah.
Joel Embiid does not fit that. Donovan Mitchell does.
Okay. Well, I'm going over. I think they're I think they're going to hit like 54, 55 games. I do not believe that if they trade Donovan Mitchell for like RJ Barrett and a few picks. But that's to be determined. I can't just make that call now.
I'm going to go 56, 57 wins for the Cleveland Cavaliers this year.
All right.
Potentially 2 seed.
Potentially 2 seed. So, should we talk about the other team that we think could be a 2 seed?
Milwaukee Bucks.
The Milwaukee Bucks.
Freak time, baby.
Hey, Cream City, you know what it is.
Cream City freak time.
Yo, Tommy, look up the Cream City jerseys. It's going to be Dame and Giannis.
Tommy, this is my work laptop. Don't look up Cream City.
But, yeah, I mean, Nike, for some reason, decided that Milwaukee's going to be Cream City. My brother lived in Milwaukee for 4 years, so I assume it's because they're famous for custard. Great dessert, by the way. But it's just absolutely insane. There we go. We got Dame and Giannis up there.
Man, I mean, listen, that's gonna be a nightmare to guard in the playoffs because when they can just run their 2-man game off of each other, they'll wear you down. And it's a new combo, no one's really seen this combination,
This combination. Shout out Drake. But okay, don't get me wrong. Offensively, it's unstoppable. Okay.
Yeah.
The problem is that for Giannis, all you had to do is crowd the paint. because Giannis can't do anything other than run, jump, dunk man. He's great at it. Run, jump, dunk man is fantastic.
He's one of the great run, jump, dunk men.
Probably the best run, jump, dunk man ever. Okay?
I'll hear that.
Maybe, if you want to put Shaq as a...
Orlando Shaq is an
Yes,
all-time.
Orlando Shaq is better as a run, jump, dunk man.
Yeah.
But Shaq also had post moves that were pretty good, and Giannis doesn't. So
Shaq had the feet work.
So as a purely run, jump, dunk man, I think Giannis is best all time. And you can't just have everyone crowd the paint when you have Damian Lillard on the arc, finally getting his ultra star teammate that he needs to do anything because he's not as good as Steph Curry. The problem is that not only is Dame not as good offensively as Steph Curry, is that Steph Curry is an average defender, and Dame is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. And we'll look this up in post because it might take Tommy a bit. I can guarantee you that Dame last year was one of the 10 worst defensive players by any defensive statistic, essentially. Absolutely awful.
Can you guarantee that?
I can guarantee it. Guarantee it. If I'm wrong, there will be an apology at the end of the video. I think he was absolutely awful. Regular season defense, one of the worst. But
we'll make him wear a Lakers jersey for the next episode.
I won't do that ever. I would need to be sponsored by Dr. Buss to wear a Lakers jersey. But Dame time, he's offensively they're gonna be great, but no Drew. Who's their other backcourt player?
Yeah,
who are they gonna have back there? Show me the Bucks roster. This is
okay. So they're gonna
disgusting.
be starting Dame.
Campaign.
No, he's not gonna start. Pat Connaughton. So it's gonna be Dame, Pat Connaughton,
Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brooke.
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Okay. So Dame with Chris Middleton, whose knees look like they're shot. Pat Connaughton, who is that backcourt, the wings are gonna get absolutely shredded.
Pat Connaughton's a big body. He can defend, right? He's not going to be a minus on the offense.
The moment that Giannis misses 3 weeks, this team is going to look as bad, if not worse, than Dame's Portland teams from last year.
You're not looking forward to seeing Dame and Bobby Portis just cook with each other?
Absolutely not. I think
that's the real freak time.
I think this team is absolutely unstoppable on the offensive side of the ball, and I think they're so bad on defense that might be why they lose.
Listen.
But the thing is that I have no idea what this is going to look like because we've never seen Dame with someone like Giannis, and we've never seen Giannis with a scorer like Dame. So do I think they could win 60 games? Yeah. Do I think that they could end up getting 50 games because Giannis misses a couple weeks? Also, yes. Their over-under is at 53.5.
I'm going to go under.
Under, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to go under on this one just because of missed time.
Okay.
I think Chris Middleton will be missing time, and I think Giannis will be missing time. But I just want to say the same way the Cavs were able to have great defense with a couple minuses on their starting lineup, I think the Bucks can close that gap as well. It's going to take a willingness from Giannis to really lock in on the defensive end, but if he's locked in on defensive end full regular season with Brook Lopez, I think it's going to inspire
he's prime
guys,
Kevin Garnett then.
That's going to inspire guys like Bobby Portis as well who come off the bench to give that effort on defense, and they're going to be a better team overall than I think your current view of them.
Yeah, I mean,
not regular season record wise, because I think
playoff
injuries.
Wise.
Yes. I think once I get to the playoffs, this team will be stellar because we've never seen Giannis with a score. You said. But when Chris Middleton, he does his every other game thing in the playoffs.
Well, they won the title that year when Chris Middleton was on.
Well, it's
scoring.
scary, right? If Chris Middleton is healthy this season and can still do that streaky every other game type scoring or 2 games on, 2 games off with Dame, realistically, this team wins the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it with the bench of Malik Beasley, Robin Lopez, who is okay. He's just there because
Campaign
Brooks
is
there.
Campaign showed that he could be a very serviceable backup point guard in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I want to know Campaign's attitude because when he got to San Antonio, the reason he's on this team right now is because he was just like a shithead on San Antonio.
Come on, I mean, if you have the opportunity to win a championship, I think for a guy like Campaign, he is going to be giving all his effort in that backup capacity.
Yeah, no, I can see it. We'll see. We'll see. I feel like this team is just really hard to say. I also like the under. I can see them winning like 49, 50 games, but I could also see them being the 2 seed. I do think when it's all said and done, I do think they're the second best team in the conference. I do think that the Celtics are better. If everything goes chalk, I think it's Celtics Bucks in the conference finals. But like I was saying earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if they play like the Heat first round and they just lose.
I could very, very easily see the Bucks as low as the 4th seed.
Okay. 4 seed?
Yeah. I could see them
if
fall
they're
that
4
low
seed and they lose in the first round, I think Giannis might finally say it was a failure of a season. And I think Giannis has to leave at that point.
To the Knicks.
To the Knicks, to the, maybe Warriors, maybe Spurs link up with Wemby, maybe Mavs link up with Luka. I think he's just going to be like, look, I need like a young stud or someone like Steph who's just, I can teach you how to win, young buck.
How long is Giannis's extension? When is he up?
So he has a player option for 2025, 26. So
that means anytime before then in that regular season, the Bucks would be willing to
So they have 2 years. They have a 2-year window.
Well, no, they would play out this year, and then during the next season, they would start to look for moves for him.
Yep. So if it doesn't work out this year, next year, Giannis and Dame might be somewhere else. So next,
we're going under. We went under on the.
We went under. We went under. Yep.
Yeah.
53.5. I'm going under.
Yeah.
Just because I think it's safer. But could I see them easily breaking it? Yeah.
They could if it's a healthy team.
Yeah.
There's no reason they shouldn't win 60 games. I just don't think Chris Middleton and Giannis will be able to provide that. And Dame had that weird ab injury.
He did have that weird ab injury. And I know he was trying to say like, oh, they kept me out in order to tank. But how much of that is real? I mean,
he said he played through a lot of games with that ab injury.
Really?
But he's only getting older. I think if you let an injury sit and fester like that, it's only going to come back to haunt
did you see what Dame said like last week? He said that I'm going to be just as good when I'm 38. No, you're not. No, you're not, dude.
We'll see.
But yeah, next we got the Indiana Pacers.
Exciting.
Exciting team.
Tyrese Halliburton feels like the young guy everyone's excited about.
Yep.
The future of the new point guards in the NBA. A lot of people have compared him to Chris Paul. I see the vision. Weird shot. Goes in. High efficiency.
Very weird shot.
Very weird shot. But they have an interesting roster. Miles Turner... We're going to figure out what Miles Turner's role is on this team. What is his fate as an NBA player?
He is not going to finish the year with a team. Buddy Hield, they already said they're going to try and look for a trade partner. Because I think they love Benedict Mathurin. Mm-hmm. I also love Benedict Mathurin. Do you remember at the start of last year? Like, he just started the season ripping.
Mathurin was electric. He came into the draft saying that he couldn't wait to take LeBron one-on-one.
Oh, 100%. I love his mentality. I think he can only evolve as a shooter. I think TJ McConnell, one of the best backup point guards in the league. Whenever Tyrese missed time, TJ McConnell was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I think that
Andrew Nembhard did phenomenal for Tyrese.
And Naismith, too, for a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah.
I think Obi Toppin, the Knicks let him go for nothing. Mm-hmm. I think he is a really athletic guy that has a lot to prove. Near the end of last season, he started looking pretty good too.
When Obi Toppin gets a lot of time to play, he puts up good counting stats. Can he do it over a long period of games? I'm not 100% sure, but I do agree with you that they're willing to go with Obi Toppin in the sort of usage space that Miles Turner occupies. And even though Obi can't really get some of the defensive stats that Miles Turner gets, I think they're going to look to Jalen Smith for that. See, that's what I was saying. I like Jalen Smith a lot. I like Jarace Walker a lot too. Their rookie. I watched some tape on him actually. I think he could be pretty good. Maybe not this year, but long term. But I think that this is the year they finally trade
Miles Turner, and I think they trade Buddy Hield. They already kind of said that they were going to shop around Buddy Hield, but he'll start off the team. He'll start off the year with them. But I just feel like they're going to take out Buddy Hield. They're going to give Mathurin, Buddy Hield minutes. Mm-hmm. They're going to throw in Bruce Brown, who is just awesome. Like, you love Bruce Brown. Everyone loves Bruce Brown. Champion. NBA champion Bruce Brown. And I think that this team is just going to be very competitive. And I think while they have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield, they're going to be better, obviously. When they eventually get traded, if they get traded, I think they're going to be a little bit worse. But I think Benedict and I think Bruce Brown and Jalen Smith pull up a lot of that slack. And I think they go over. Can you guess what their over is?
No, I'm gonna ask you for what the over under is here.
39.5. I have them kind of around that 40 to 42 win area where they can be like an 8 seed or 9 seed. I think they're a lock to be a play-in team. And if Tyrese elevates his game to the next level, Benedict elevates his game to the next level, I think Bruce Brown really gets this team hyped, I think they could do even better.
You said 39.5?
39.5.
40. I'm going 40 wins.
Yeah.
For the Indiana Pacers.
Exactly. Are we both over?
Yeah, I'm going 40 wins for the Indiana Pacers. They make it into the playoffs.
Okay. Hell yeah.
I would love to see Tyrese in the playoffs. And, if he really is the basketball mind that we think he is, maybe this is putting too much pressure on him. But, second year leading this team, I think he has the mind to figure out how to get these guys to the playoffs in the East.
Yeah, 100%.
They can do it in the East.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have 2 more teams in the East. And they're 2 teams that I don't really want to talk about, but we will anyway. So first up, we have the Detroit Pistons. Their over-under, let me just say, is... You want to guess?
Detroit basketball.
Yeah. Where's Jalen Rose when you need him? Detroit basketball.
What's the over-under, 20?
Okay, it's not that bad. I mean...
There's nobody watches the Pistons.
It's 28.5.
28.5.
They had 17 last year. With no Cade Cunningham, they got Asar Thompson.
Oh, who looks great.
Both
the twins.
They have Cade back, and they have what seems like 500 centers.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Sam is a medical student right now. How much does Cade Cunningham's shin fracture bother you in terms of him coming back this season? Do you think that's going to be a lingering issue?
Okay, when things have to do... What's tough is that I have no idea. I would need access to, I would need to look at his, x-rays, MRIs. I would need to talk to one of his doctors. I feel like it's so, it's so different for every person because we don't know how much nerve damage or if any nerve damage there is. You don't know what, how things healed, right? I feel like that's a kind of a big risk. But we just know there's data about this, and we see it in the NBA every year. When you're really tall, Cade Cunningham's what? 6'8"? I feel like he's 6'8". Where's Cade Cunningham?
6'6".
6'6"? Okay, my bad. He looks like he's 6'8". When you're that tall and you move that fast, and that's his thing, is he's very, very athletic for a tall point guard. Lower body injuries tend to flare up again.
Oh yeah,
it's just hard to. And he's been injured twice now, and so the thing is, do I think Cade Cunningham is worth an additional over their last year 11 wins? No, I don't, because I don't even think they know what their center rotation is. They have James Wiseman, they have Marvin Bagley, they have Jalen Duren, they have Isaiah Stewart. Of those players, I think if Jalen Duren just took everything, I think Jalen Duren is absolutely bonkers as a player. Oh, yeah. He was one of my favorite rookies last year. I remember seeing a podcast where Paul George was talking about him too. the kid's just insanely strong. He's like 19 and stronger than Paul George already.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Paul George was talking about how surprised he was about that.
Yeah.
I agree with you on Jalen Duren. I think Jalen Duren would be, maybe he doesn't have as high of a ceiling offensively as some of these other guys.
Yeah.
You look at a Marvin Bagley, and people thought coming in he could be like Tim Duncan or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you look at, who are their other big men on this team?
James Wiseman,
who, another one of those, he could do anything on the court, power forward, centers.
Yeah.
I think it's a waste of time trying to look at those guys who could have the highest ceiling when you have a guy like Jalen Duren that is a fit.
But the problem is that they gave Monty Williams the highest contract of any coach in NBA history, and I don't know if what he's really gonna do with this team. We saw Monty Williams last year. For anyone that doesn't know or didn't watch the Suns Nuggets series, look, I know they played like 8 games with Kevin Durant before that series. Monty Williams had no idea what the rotation should be. He was just like trying to throw random people in various lineups, trying to see what worked.
This is not a situation for Monty Williams.
No,
Monty Williams needs established stars.
He needs veterans. Yeah. That's what Monty Williams is really good at. That's why he was so great with Chris Paul. But now you're telling me that like they have to win 30 games, and Monty Williams has to figure out this rotation when they have 5 centers and like 4 point guards. They have still Jaden Ivey, who looked not great last year. They have Killian Hayes, who is just always bad.
Terrible. Killian Hayes. You see the guy on TikTok that reviews all of Killian Hayes' games?
No, I haven't. But
there's an unhinged
hilarious
Pistons fan. I'm gonna shout you out. I'm gonna make sure I get a clip of your TikTok page. There's an unhinged Pistons fan that reviews every single Killian Hayes game.
Okay.
And it is so frustrating. I watched all his videos, and I cannot imagine what it's like being a Pistons fan. I'd want to end it all.
Yeah. No, it's just... Yeah, and then Marvin what do I say? Joe Harris has been washed for like 3 years now.
And Monty Williams, that is not a situation that he's equipped to figure out. I like Monty Williams. I would grab a drink with Monty Williams.
I think he's an excellent manager of veterans.
Oh, yeah.
But he's not good for young people. Who was the last young person that liked Monty Williams? DeAndre Ayton wanted to he wanted to just shoot himself into space.
Oh yeah.
I've
never seen a guy want to get away from
a
2
finals
to 3
team.
Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Faster than maybe besides Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, no, even then, Kawhi at least waited until people got old.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
It's just
those guys are still arguably in their prime.
Yeah, 28.5. I'm under. I think this is a strong contender for bottom 2 team in the conference.
I think this is an easy under. This is a no question. If the Pistons win 30-something games or 30 games, it's because Cade Cunningham
is way better than anyone thinks. Way better than even the Cade Cunningham fanboys think he is.
Yeah.
If that happens, okay, sure.
And I love Cade Cunningham's game.
I think he's really good, but I haven't seen him play for 40 games.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So, last team, the Bulls. What do you got to say about the Bulls? Other than old and bad.
Yeah, I don't really have much to say about the Bulls. They need to figure out a direction as an organization. Are they going to go into a full rebuild? Who can DeMar help? I think DeMar, as a veteran, what he's done for a lot of teams,
they have to trade him.
The respect that players have for DeMar DeRozan, he's going to probably try to force a trade to a good situation for himself. Do you think it's going to be a championship team, or do you think it's going to be a place he just enjoys being?
I think it's going to be a team that has a lot of veterans already and can just give away some young players. I think the Lakers are a prime candidate to go after Buddy Hield again for the 4th year in a row and actually get Buddy Hield this time. I don't really know if they would go after DeMar, but with now having Gabe Vincent and Austin Reeves being, kind of evolving, I could see DeMar kind of fleshing out there in the no LeBron minutes or if LeBron misses time. Mm-hmm. Because we've seen point forward DeMar in San Antonio, and he was really good. And now the Lakers can surround him with shooters that San Antonio never could. And DeMar on those San Antonio teams was like an 8 seed, right? But I just think that I think they would just opt to go for Buddy Hield. I don't know what team would trade for DeMar. And
could you see DeMar on the Bucks?
If they could do DeMar for just Chris Middleton and a pick? I would do that if I was Milwaukee.
That would be nasty, no?
That would be because then it's full. It's 3 level. You can't guard it then.
Yeah.
Because what is Chris Middleton best at?
Chris Middleton
it's
can
the
hit
mid range,
but he can hit the threes and shoot 40%.
Yeah.
But if you have it's his mid range, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That opens it up, and when teams are like, we don't know what to do
because as a closer,
yeah.
and DeMar DeRozan the past like 5 years since he's left Toronto basically for the Spurs and for the Bulls, he was incredible for the Bulls as a closer last year. Mm-hmm. He had like a streak. What was the game streak of him with 30-point games? It was wild.
Dude, he was a menace.
And so I think that
he could still do it, and he showed he showed the ability to do it on his terms, whatever he wants to do. He was on the Spurs. He started taking threes.
Yeah.
And he was hitting threes.
Yep. And he became like an exceptional passer.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that when you take all of that into account, I think DeMar just needs to leave. I think the Bulls are going to be really bad because DeMar and Zach LaVine just don't look that great together. The team looked really good when they had Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is not playing this season. I love Alex Caruso. I think he is, after Drew Holiday, the best defensive guard in the league right now. Mm-hmm. I think Vucevic, who is always a 20 and 10.
It would be Lonzo.
Yeah, it would be Lonzo if he could play.
Playing.
Vucevic, I think, is like old now. I think at some point Vucevic can't just be 20 and 10, like automatic 20 and 10. There has to be a point where
he makes it seem like it's impossible for him to not get 20.
I mean, this is just a running joke between me and Neil because we're like, hey, Vucevic, I mean, that's just 20 and 10. Just take him every year in fantasy basketball for the last decade.
He clocks in and he gets 20 and 10 every single night. Yeah. It is insane how locked in he is.
Yeah.
True professional.
It's always 20 and 10. He's a true professional. You'll get 20 and 10. But then I think Kobe White is just I like Ayo Dosunmu is
I like Ayo. Patrick Williams is looking for $200 million.
That is a thing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Patrick Williams is rather intoxicated. I don't like him. I think this team is just an under for me. The over/under is 37.5.
Yeah, I'm going under on that. I don't think anybody that's playing there wants Andre Drummond's on this team.
Yeah. Like, look, if you told me this exact same team, but you told me that they beat the Heat in the play-in game last year. It was down to the wire. If you told me that they beat the Heat in the play-in game, I think that everyone on this team would be way more bought in because they could see the vision. But now I think everyone's just unhappy and they are going to get shipped out.
Oh, yeah. If these guys were all bought in and playing their hardest, sick. It would be awesome.
They'd win 40 games. Cool. If they're all bought in, they win 40 games. The over-under is 37.5. I think they're going to be like 32. I got the under on this one.
Yeah, I think this one's also in easy under. No one on this team is... Wait, you say 36?
The over-under is 37.5.
Oh, 37.5?
Yeah.
I honestly think they're going to be at like 35, 36.
Yeah. All right. We're under on this one. Thank you for tuning in for the first episode. This was the Eastern Conference preview. It's probably way too long, and we promise that we'll do just as good or probably better as we go on with the rest of the season.
Hey, check back in for the Western Conference preview coming soon. Should be posted probably within the week after this one.
Yeah. Maybe within a couple days, but we'll see. Anyway, signing off, Sam and Neel, Sports Synagogue. Let the music play.